One thing that I always find really interesting is how many people kind of all agree that this is the time for Africa to shine and there is a lot happening out there, but no one has really taken the step to do anything. So it's
very this question where you're applying for the job, they say you don't have any experience, but you need experience to have experience.
With all the measures of caution back to normal in order to keep our society functioning.
Hello all. Thank you for attending this great experiment, and thanks for having me. It is an honor to be a keynote speaker for the first summit where the audience does not have to wear pants.
I want to reframe artificial intelligence, reframe AI as a potential remover of fear and not the cause. I'm sure this is something that we hear a lot in our various businesses, in our conversations, that AI is going to be this global catastrophic risk and end us all, especially if you're fans of sci-fi.
So the blockchain and cryptocurrencies represent a whole new different world. It's like a different universe in which we get to write the rules.
So in this particular photo, we did a documentary about what quarantine looked like in Hangzhou, China, when COVID first hit. And we were able to play that experience with a group of our colleagues and peers, watch it and discuss it together inside of VR.
AI and quantum computing and brain-computer interfacing and the future of computing, it's all based on mastery of matter at the nano scale.
For the first time for this country, I see say young people come together, do something. Nobody talk about the kind church where they go, the kind God where they pray to, the tribe where you come from, the language where they speak, the clique where you dey, the economic class where you dey. I just dey for everything just they happen like clockwork.
So you have a lot of young people who are getting into positions where they can influence more things happening for us in the tech ecosystem, and I think that is great.
Yeah. Somebody presque $1,000 par mois. Qui va combien de jeunes qui a école? Ou bien on peut parler. On l'autre bagarre. On l'autre bagarre. Écoutez maman en Haïti. Pour ouvrir une compagnie SA, faut ouvrir un compte en banque dans BLC avec 100 000 gouttes sous lui. L'on fin ouvrir compagnie ça, ou à dans BLC il faut rouvrir l'autre compte encore. Ça crée 100 000 gouttes là.
You know that women make up half of the world's working age population, but right now are generating about 37% of GDP.
To me, it's really easy. I mean, you think about the technologies today that can even examine patients remotely, where you have devices like this, the Med one, for example, which can do a number of physical examinations remotely.
I say to a lot of entrepreneurs that you have to treat every situation as though it is an investor meeting, as though it is something that's significant that can support you with your business.
The world's first and largest digital accelerator. We have been running digital accelerators for the past 6 years, so we're so excited again to bring you this program virtually so you can still engage with this content.
All right. Well, hello and welcome everyone to the AI-Ready Startup Accelerator program powered by the global startup ecosystem. I'm just excited to be here with you, and I hope you're ready for an amazing 3-day founder experience to help you build and scale in this AI economy. By introduction, my name is Christine and Tim. I'm a 3-time founder, global speaker, and a tech ecosystem builder on a mission of building a next generation of entrepreneurial leaders. And this is by far one of my biggest joys, supporting entrepreneurs through our work at the global startup ecosystem. And if you haven't heard of GSE, I'm going to give you a brief introduction on who we are. We are the world's first digital accelerator platform. We have accelerated thousands of entrepreneurs through our accelerator program, and our mission is to educate and prepare individuals for the digital age. And we do that through our 3 ecosystem engagement pillars, which is entrepreneurship, employment, and education. This initiative of the AI-Ready Startup Accelerator program is part of our entrepreneurship pillar, where we're trying to expose and prepare you for what's next in this current AI accelerating economy. Now, if you've been a part of any of our programs from around the world, we have supported over 100,000 entrepreneurs within the past 9 years. So we have been extremely active, supporting, managing, and scaling, and really inspiring entrepreneurs of all walks of life from around the world through our programs. Many of you have been a part of our summits, our academy, or our flagship program that we're known for is the Digital Startup Accelerator program. And alongside that long accelerator history, we have done it for over 9 years now. The application is actually open. Comment Accelerator if you want to be a part of the 9th cohort happening this fall. Alongside the Accelerator program, we have partnered with a lot of different ecosystem enablers, from Google to IBM to AWS to HubSpot to Microsoft, DigitalOcean. I want to give a resounding thank you to all of our corporate and government and global organizational partners to make this founder reality of supporting the next builders of purpose and mission-driven founders. So it's been an amazing journey thus far. And of course, you could comment if you are an alumni who've been a part of our program. Please comment alumni, share your experience. We have a lot of alums who've been through the Digital Accelerator program, and all of them have really given such powerful testimonies about the experience, what they learned. Some entrepreneurs have come to us and say, hey, we didn't even know what blueprint was possible to actually launch a company in today's digital age. And it's been a tremendous, inspiring, but yet practical journey to work with GSE to learn how to launch a company in today's market. And so our portfolio alongside the Accelerator program, you probably have heard of many tech summits that we have powered, such as Haiti Tech Summit, Ghana Tech Summit, Her Future Summit, Afro Future Summit. We have 60 plus brands in the Tech Summit Initiative portfolio, where for the past 9 years, we have been traveling around the world to dozens of countries, launching Tech Summit initiatives in partnerships with national governments and global stakeholders to really spotlight entrepreneurs who are building with purpose and integrity and with technology in the industries that they want to disrupt. And it's been an amazing, probably inspiring experience to be at these tech summits around the world. And so if you've been a part of our portfolio of events, welcome back to another program powered by GSE. And of course, we've been featured in media outlets all over the world for our initiatives and programs. And if you want to find out how you can work with us in any capacity in terms of our startup ecosystem sessions and roundtables and activations at major global events like the United Nations General Assembly Week, Davos, or IMF meetings, or Global Entrepreneurship Week, if you are part of any of these global activation points, please feel free to DM our team at info@globalstartupfoundation.com, so that way we can work with you, collaborate with you, partner with you as we work towards our mission of accelerating and inspiring the next generation of entrepreneur leaders. Now, that's about GSE. Let's talk about why we are here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the AI-Ready Startup Accelerator, and I'm really excited about this one because last month we did a small pilot version of this initiative called the AI-Ready Startup Bootcamp, where we had a preliminary high-level multi-day program to help entrepreneurs understand AI from a leadership capacity standpoint. It really was a powerful pilot. So many entrepreneurs, really said like, hey, it was amazing. And for those who missed it, kept emailing their account and say, hey, when are you launching another one? When are you launching another one? So I can't say we'll be able to launch another one this year, but based on the demand and the excitement, we decided to do an encore. And so welcome to the AI Startup Accelerator program. And it's my distinct pleasure to host this 3-day conversation to help you build again and scale in the digital age of AI economy right now. So let's get started. And again, an official welcome to all of you who are in the AI Startup Accelerator program today. Now, please, 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 some of you have been a part of the, inner circle, are in the background right now. Feel free to comment and network with each other privately on the chat. For those of you who have public access on any of our social media platforms, such as LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, feel free to comment. We will be filtering and answering questions. The entire team is here to be able to answer any questions that you have as we undergo this entire multi-day experience. So feel free to just comment and we'll address it. Now, why are we doing this initiative? I think right now, many of you, again, we have supported over 100,000 entrepreneurs in the past 9 years. And so we have seen almost every challenge under the sun, under our companies, our partners, and the collaborators and stakeholders in the ecosystem. And we have seen that many of you are still frustrated, fearsome, and downright confused about this whole AI revolution that's taking place. And when it comes to capacity efforts, I just wanted to kind of ground you in the reality that's happening, not just for startup entrepreneurs, but also businesses at a magnitude at the corporate level, right? To this day, I just want to remind you that just building a business is still hard. Even with all the tools and resources available at your disposal as an entrepreneur, the statistics still remains the same that close to 90% of startups still fail within the first 5 years. Okay. And so you are still racing against time, racing against, the statistical understanding that you may not succeed as an entrepreneur when you're trying to take an idea and bring it to market. That is fact. Okay. Now, when you add this layer of artificial intelligence and building your capacity to be prepared for what's next, where your competitors are definitely leveraging AI tools, leveraging AI technology to be able to accelerate marketing, to accelerate sales growth, lead generation, to accelerate, visibility. They are leveraging these tools that are out there on the internet to not only accelerate their company, but really outcompete you. And so I understand the FOMO and fear that many entrepreneurs are facing right now in order to not just prepare for what's next, but just to stay relevant in this AI race that is happening in real time amongst founders at all stages of the startup development journey. So that's one phase. The second thing that I want to bring to your attention, even companies at the highest level are facing disruption. Many of you probably, if you walk down any boulevard in your hometown urban city center, many businesses are shutting down because they're not able to compete, right? And part of it is because when we're transitioning to a new technology, and this is what any technology that you could think of, there was a revolution where people were trying to, get their first website, right? Or get on social media. And now we're talking about AI. There's always a new wave of technology coming in, and entrants are able to innovate and leverage it. And then there are people who are not able to keep up and they die out, right? And so 70% of digital transformation efforts usually fail. Just to give you statistical understanding that not everyone tries to integrate technology and succeed, right? And so if you're feeling like, this is hard, this is difficult, I don't know how to leverage this, you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because the path to integration with new technologies, depending on who the founder is and the strategy that you have in place, is very, very difficult. And the majority of times, a lot of those transformational efforts do fail. That's why strategy is very, very important. Now, fast forward to, I just talked about, just at the startup level, 90% of startups fail. At the small business level, which is the backbone of any economy, the majority of any economy is actually small businesses, not Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, 70% of digital transformation efforts fail. Let's talk about the corporates. Corporates, since the launch of this whole AI revolution, you could even go as far back as, maybe as recently as 2022 when ChatGPT went live to the world. A lot of corporates are still struggling with piloting and executing sustainable AI frameworks for their institutional practices. About 65% of AI pilot projects never make it into full production or to global markets, right? Which means that even at the corporate multi-million-dollar level, the struggle to build AI capacity that actually works is still very difficult. So, okay, should you even try if the statistics are against you? Of course you should, right? Because as an entrepreneur, your spirit is to literally chase challenge and find solutions. You did not become an entrepreneur just to drop it just because things are getting tough. You became an entrepreneur because you are frustrated with a problem in the market and you found a sustainable financial solution to tackle that challenge and make lives for other people better. Okay, that's the whole point of entrepreneurship. So for some of you, you might see all these statistics and say, like, I'm ready, let's go. I know that's my energy. But for those of you who are apprehensive, I'm also saying that to not only ground you, but to give you perspective that you're not in this race alone, that all of us are trying to figure this out. And it's quite okay if you feel like the path forward in this AI race has been difficult. But I promise you, innovation, capacity, and growth requires resilience. You got to keep going. And this is why this AI Ready, Accelerator program has been birthed, because we want to get you AI ready. We want to build your capacity and build your awareness and build your, your framework and your structure and your strategy for success. We want to share that with you through this initiative. Okay. And so the biggest thing that I want to bring to your attention, that I want you to understand, okay, to ensure that you understand the right questions you should be asking, is not what tool should I be using, what program or initiative should I be leveraging in the AI space, because all of that is centered around capacity, which is great. You got to build AI ready capacity, but I want you to frame your thinking around not just AI capacity, but AI leadership, right? Are you leading when amongst this whole sea of chaos that is happening around the world? Okay. And I say this because a lot of people are asking not only the wrong questions, but are so focused on the right tools they should be using and all these different, obsolete questions, and are not really preparing themselves in a way that, okay, as everyone's trying to figure out this road to acceleration in this AI economy, what are we as an organization, as a company, as a startup, as a group doing to lead in this time? I want to bring something to your attention that I think by far kind of crystallized this movement in a way that I hope gives you a more grounded perspective. This is an IBM training manual from 1979. And read this quote, and I hope this sinks in. The quote goes, "A computer can never be held accountable. Therefore, a computer must never make a management decision." I'm going to repeat that again. A computer can never be held accountable. Therefore, a computer must never make a management decision. Let that sink in. This is from a 1979 IBM training manual. Now, why did I bring this up? Because as a founder who's been in the game for over a decade, I have seen so many conversations, almost every event now in the tech industry is about AI. Davos, AI. Hungary, AI. Global meetings, AI. Global sales meetings, AI. Global traction meeting, AI. Global competition, AI. Everyone's talking about AI. And what's happened is that in this search for automation, convenience, acceleration, we have almost dehumanized important leadership decisions at the entrepreneurial level. How many of you, if you look at the headlines over the past, I would say just 3 years, massive layoffs being auto-generated by chatbots and AI computers, massive, painstaking work search experiences where people are applying to jobs only to be auto-denied just by chat GPT or just Autobots. I mean, the entire human experience of work in business has been so automated that managers, founders, CEOs, leaders are no longer making high-level decisions that not only affect their constituents, but the everyday stakeholder that interacts with their business. And as if they had a crystal ball into the future, look at what this training manual said. A computer should never be held, can never be held accountable, so should not make a management decision. So for those of you who are still automating and chasing this race of trying to accelerate at scale and losing the human touch, I want to remind you that leadership in this era, in the sea of change that's happening with technology, requires you to still think about, how do I make sure that I have human-centered design in my decisions? That even if it takes manual contribution and manual execution, that is worth the integrity and respect that you give your end user, which is a human on the other side. So with that said, for those of you who are confused about, how to actually operate in this revolution that's happening in real time right now, I hope that this screenshot from a 1979 manual reminds you of what matters most. Because the goal here is to not only up your capacity with this technology, but to also remind you of your leadership obligation as well. An AI-ready business is not just focusing on capacity efforts, they're also making sure to guide and strategize around their leadership efforts as well. Capacity plus leadership equals an AI-ready business. I wanted to make sure that was clear to all of you. And at the end of the day, it's all about your strategy. One quote from Devin Winnick, former CEO of eBay, is like, if you do not have an AI strategy, you are going to die in the world that's coming. And that is very true. So I wanted to frame that for you to understand that, yes, the tools and the programs and the databases are great. Really, they truly are. But don't forget that your leadership, your quality leadership is just as important as the tech tools that you leverage to accelerate and grow your business in this economy. Okay? So I will begin today with the framework that we're going to go over the next 3 days to help you become not only a future entrepreneur, but a future entrepreneur who has leveraged an AI-ready advantage. And there are 3 things that you need to leverage AI for in order to succeed in this AI economy. The first is how you leverage your time. This is what we're going to go over today. Today, we're going to talk about how to learn how to use AI to help you reclaim time, improve productivity, and build operational systems that allow your business to scale without requiring more tools that just overwhelm you. That will be today. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to talk about the Power of One Growth Framework. Is how I share to simplify your business model so that you could grow. Because a lot of you think you need more tools and marketing to grow your business and not realizing that you already have a dysfunctional business structure that needs to be revamped. Okay, so we'll talk tomorrow about traction. And on the third day, we'll talk about trust. Right now, trust is broken. What's funny, AI has really leveled the playing field where more entrants have come into the market and launch a business. However, it has created so many bots, so many fake content, so many just AI generated the slop on the internet that trust is broken. So I'm going to share with you the Trust Event Bridge Framework, where I show you how to leverage live virtual events to build relationships, credibility, and accelerated revenue in the AI economy. This is something that I not only teach our entrepreneurs to scale their businesses, but also we teach this to our entrepreneurs to scale their personal brands as well. So a very powerful culminating day 3 in terms of that framework. But today we're talking about time, because at the end of the day, time is your biggest currency right now. And if you are able to leverage that currency well, it's going to give you the needed advantage to win in this economy. So let's talk about the challenge that many are you facing. A lot of you are aware of the fact that you want to dismantle manual work, disconnecting systems in your business, and find more efficient workflows. Now, one of the stats that we have not only seen in our company portfolios, but the thousands of entrepreneurs that we supported over the years, is that on average, and tell me on the comments if this is you, on average, entrepreneurs are using anywhere from 20 to 50 different software tools or subscriptions. That's a lot of tools. Think about that. And it's so many tools to the point that you're using so many software tools that you're not really using all of them. Statistically speaking, 30 to 40% of SaaS subscriptions are either underused or completely not used at all, right? So usually the first thing that we tell our entrepreneurs who come through our program, especially with the AI-Ready Sprint workshop, is doing a tech stack audit to make sure that you're using the right tech stack for your business. Sometimes we get people to go as less as 10 or less tools to accelerate their business. If you are an entrepreneur leveraging 10, 20, 30, 40 plus tools for your business, that is a bottleneck issue that's causing you not to scale effectively in this economy. So when you think about your tech stack, we look at, okay, what CRM are you using to manage your data? What communication are you leveraging to email? What productivity tool are you using to optimize interactions within your company, such as Slack? What are you using to make sure that you're, accelerating revenue flow like Stripe, PayPal, right? What are you using to build trust with your constituents like StreamYard to do live events, right? And this is probably the biggest one. We talk about trying to leverage all-in-one software so you can have a dashboard looking at your business every single day, like all-in-one software like ConvertKit, Kajabi, and the like, right? Or ClickFunnels. There's so many all-in-one software to help you accelerate your business. That is usually the first thing that we talk about is your tech stack. And when we think about, challenging yourself to really build a company that is leveraging AI, one of my favorite quotes from the OpenAI founder is like, right now people talk about being an AI company. There was a time when, if you guys go back to 2007, when the iPhone launched the App Store, where people talked about being a mobile company, right? But no software company says they're a mobile company now, because it's kind of like an automatic thing. It's expected. The same is going to happen with AI. If you don't have some type of component of leveraging AI to really make yourself productive without sacrificing the human experience, it's going to slow you down in comparison to your competitors, right? But here's the thing. When we do an audit of how you leverage tools to accelerate your growth, we talk about the time hour blocks that entrepreneurs are using. Part one, we talk about what is your personal brand activities. Part two, we talk about what are the business functions. And then we look at the two externalities, which is your life goals, because we realize that there's a massive depression epidemic happening right now, where entrepreneurs are not balancing between their entrepreneurial endeavors and life balance, right? So part three is your personal activities, and part four is your project activities. These time hour blocks we go over to make sure that you have a healthy and balanced and almost like a harmony flow, time lap with how you manage your time. But specifically for your business, we look at, again, your tech stack. What are you using as tools for IP, marketing, sequencing, lead generation, and data? And then we look at your workflows. Do you have a process for repeated tasks to ensure that you guys are staying on target and staying efficient? So we look at your SOP framework, which is standard operating procedures for live events, client onboarding, product management. All of these templates we go over in the AI-Ready Sprint Workshop, by the way. And then my favorite part of AI-Ready capacity building is looking at your daily routine. And we have something called the business hour, a core hour where you are leveraging every single day to make sure you're tackling the most important activities in your business. Because a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize that they procrastinate too much and do everything else but what they actually need to get done. So what are your core hour activities on a daily, weekly basis? And what are your administrative and opportunities that you're leveraging to be able to accelerate, like podcast interviews, YouTube channels, subscriptions with Substack? Like, what are you looking at into the future to accelerate your business growth? That's the part where we call R&D. Now, I want to add another layer to this. As you're looking at your AI-ready capacity time, okay, how are you overhaul looking at your tech stack, your SOPs, and your daily routine? Remember, it's not just about time capacity, it's also about leadership time. And this is where I want to share with you a framework to understand the future entrepreneur is not just going to focus on how they build their business ecosystem with their product, but also how they manage their stakeholder ecosystem. At GSE, at the Global Startup Ecosystem, we have a 10 stakeholder framework on how entrepreneurs who want to build a strong personal brand in this AI economy are supposed to leverage these 10 very important relationships. And I'm going to go over it with you. And of course, if you guys have any questions, share on the chat. I would love to see if there are any questions on the chat. Put it on the chat. And is this resonating so far with everyone? I want to make sure. Is this resonating? Just want to get some engagements on the chat. And please introduce your company on the chat. We had over 100 entrepreneurs register for this accelerator program, so we're so pleased to support you guys in this endeavor. Please introduce your company on the chat. We'll give you a shout out towards the end. Questions, comments so far, put it on the chat. Okay? So let's talk about these 10 stakeholders, because this is something that, if I'm being honest with you, when I look at my own personal success as a founder, right? When I first started my first company, I didn't realize how I took for granted me understanding stakeholder management very, very early on in my entrepreneurial career. This is like literally a secret to my own personal success. And when I saw it was working for me so well, I realized I had a very like unique blueprint for entrepreneurial success and leadership, that I started sharing it with our entrepreneurs in our accelerator programs. And when they started to use this framework, they saw resounding scaling success for their companies as well. Okay. So with that said, here are the 10 stakeholders you should constantly have a relationship. And in the AI Ready Sprint workshop, we actually have a spreadsheet to show you how to manage these relationships on a daily, weekly, but also monthly, quarterly way, because some relationships should be quarterly touch points, some relationships should be monthly, some should be weekly, and some should be actually daily, depending on who you're working with. The first one is entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur, you should have a relationship with other entrepreneurs. And I always tell people, have a relationship with entrepreneurs who are 2 steps behind you, so you can mentor them, because it helps you see a balcony view of mistakes that you've made and appreciate your growth, but also entrepreneurs who are at least 5 steps ahead of you. So that way you have a gap of mentorship where someone can give you advice based on shoes that they actually walked. Because one thing that frustrates me with the internet right now is people who are talking as if they're experienced entrepreneurs and they haven't done jack squat. You need, again, always look at entrepreneurs who are a couple steps behind you and entrepreneurs who are a couple steps ahead. You need to be a part of those communities. GSC, we do have, our entrepreneur community, comment community, if you want to join our community. But I can't stress this enough. One of the stakeholders you should manage, I always tell entrepreneurs, you should have at least 3 to 5 entrepreneur friends that you are interacting with, because sometimes they push you for awards, they recommend you for speaking engagements, they push you to really put yourself out there. I mean, every cohort that we brought together, they've become lifelong friends, and you want to have that in your stakeholder leadership capacity of building friendships and collaborations with entrepreneurs in your industry, and sometimes outside of your industry as well, to entrepreneurs. The second one is funders, and funders of different capacities. This is the thing about the startup world. A lot of people think only VCs and angels, but we talk about funders in different capacity at the GSC, where we talk about what are your relationships with bankers, grant providers, loan facilitators, right? Anyone who could provide funding in any capacity, even, platforms who help you capital raise. Every single one of you should have relationships with funders in your ecosystems, and do not limit yourself to VCs and angel investors. Look at, again, bankers. Some of you don't have banking relationships, and you should have banking relationships. Grant providers, loan facilitators. There's so many different ways to fund, even grant competition prizes. For my first company, I raised $250,000 with my first startup in 6 months, just purely through grant and competition prizes, right? And so it's really important that you understand that this is a really important thing to really look into. It's like, how are you managing funding relationships with different entities and institutions to help you grow and scale your business, okay? The third one is probably by far one of my favorites, because it's been tremendous, not only for my business, but for my personal brand. You need to have a relationship with educational institutions. And let me explain. So the first thing is, if you have went to university, you should have a relationship with university, not only to be able to mentor and speak at the next generation of entrepreneurs or graduates living at university because you become a case study, but also entrepreneurship programs or just university in general are slowly implementing a lot more entrepreneurship programs into the curriculum. And what does that mean for you? They are looking for speakers, entrepreneurs as case studies, but also as speakers. So from a speaker standpoint, my entire speaker career kicked off because I was speaking at a lot of universities around the world, hands down, paid speaking engagements. But also from a business perspective, my business, Vendetti, my first company, accelerated so quickly that it became a case study at Harvard Business School. So there are business students every single year who could download and actually see my business as a case study to learn from. And a lot of people don't think creatively about, the business challenges and how that could be a learning opportunity for other entrepreneurs coming after you in the university academic ecosystem. But that is also another opportunity for many of you to look at education institutions in your community, in your country, in your network, right? And how you build in relationships with those universities. I highly, highly stress that you either partner, collaborate. You could be a judge at competitions at these, programs. You could go speak at the, alumni career centers at these education institutions. The point is that you should have a working relationship with education institutions because they are at the heart of innovation studies, case studies for business training. They are really great research and R&D facilitators. And last but not least, when I first started my company, a lot of my interns and temp workers and first line of workers came from universities. So in one place, you could get speaking engagements, you could get contract opportunities, you could get case study opportunities, and you could get employees to work for your business. So this is a really important stakeholder relationship that you should build. Again, in our spreadsheet, we help you to manage those relationships in real time. Fourth, I actually do think in some shape or form, if you're an entrepreneur who wanted to succeed, you should try to find at least some type of mentorship or training program, even if it's a day, even if it's a year, even if it's a month. I don't really care the length, but you should really look at business education and programs and support, even if it is to validate your understanding of how you want to build and scale your business. We are an accelerator platform, so I'm hands down in belief of the not only the benefit of going through a process and a curriculum to streamline your operations as an entrepreneur, but also to get exposure to the networks. We have thousands of high-level speakers and sponsors and investors in our network that people who go through our program not only get accelerator programs, but they get visibility in front of those stakeholders. So it's been a massive boost. I myself have been a graduate of multiple accelerator, incubator programs. Now, don't take the dangerous road of going from accelerator to incubator to accelerator, and like go do multiple programs to the point that you just learn how to start a business, but you never actually start the business. We don't want that. We want you to actually execute on your goals. But the point is that I highly suggest that you join a program. You are welcome to join if you have not joined the accelerator program before, you're welcome to apply to the GSE Accelerator program. We help entrepreneurs launch their business ideas to market. It happens in the fall of every year. Truly a phenomenal experience. Highly suggest that you apply to be a part of that. Okay. Now, fifth stakeholder in this, stakeholder, ecosystem is entrepreneur support organizations, what we call ESOs in the United States. And these are pretty much organizations that help you succeed in your entrepreneurial endeavor. So there's the Economic Development Corporation if you're in New York. There's, state-funded programs. There are agencies. And that also includes vendors like accountants, lawyers, and business development support agencies. But the point is like there are organizations out there to help you build your business, okay? 6, I would say government policy and agency support systems. So again, economic development centers, small business administration for the U.S. economy, right? Every country has some type of government policy related framework or institution to help entrepreneurs succeed. You should have a relationship with that entity. Like it or not, they have resources, connections, programs, initiatives. Please go there and find out. Okay. Number 7, media reporters. Now, I have been featured in every media outlet you could think of, from Forbes to Inc. to Entrepreneur Magazine, Fast Company, Black Enterprise. I've been truly grateful for the media attention I have received as an entrepreneur, because it's not only gained so much visibility for my business, but it's given me the opportunity to share my story and my journey. And it has accelerated my growth. I cannot stress this enough. We live in an age now, you don't have to limit yourself to traditional media outlets. You can look at podcast invitations, speaking engagement invitations. You can even start, putting yourself out there on social media. But sharing your story as an entrepreneur not only creates visibility for you and your business, but it helps inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. So I highly suggest that you have a relationship with podcasters, media reporters, bloggers. I remember my entire first campaign for my first company, I did 100 blogger campaign where I reached out to at least 100 bloggers to market and promote our first global campaign. When I was, a finalist for a multi-million-dollar competition representing the United States of America, right? By far, one of the greatest marketing campaigns I've done in my company, and it really helped accelerate our growth tremendously. There's a visibility and opportunity. So media is a really important part of relationships that you should be managing. Number 8 is what I call events and programs. Look, you gotta, go to events. We have actually a framework for entrepreneurs to make sure that they are at global events. So like Davos, United Nations General Assembly Week, those type of programs, initiatives. Industry events are key. So you should be at all the tech events at least once a year for your industry. So for tech, it's South by Southwest, it's CES, and it's Web Summit. You should know those major tech events, and then you have your localized programs and events. Now, again, similar to education programs, you don't want to go crazy where all you're doing is just attending events. But the point is that you have a healthy balance of showing up at different events. I know when I first started my first company, I not only attended events, I helped run events. So I was a volunteer during check-in, all the speakers who end up becoming my sponsors and partners later on in life. And so I was just focused on building as many relationships as possible. So events and programs was a phenomenal way for not only scale, again, my visibility as an entrepreneur, but this visibility and access points for my business. I asked questions at every one of those events. I networked not just with the speakers, I networked with the attendees, with the organizer. I was very humble and open to meeting as many people as possible. So Eventbrite was my best friend. I still use Eventbrite to this day. Like, highly suggest that you are registering for virtual and live in-person events. Number 9, corporate ecosystem. Oh my gosh, like I was a part of any corporate program that was happening, corporate accelerators, incubators, initiatives, events, I was there. So corporations also do have competitions, investment programs, and initiatives. Be a part of it, because not only can they provide funding, exposure, partnerships, collaborations, but exposure. And last but not least, community networks. Be a part of the associations, chambers of commerce, and entrepreneur groups, so you have a community that enables you to succeed. These 10 stakeholders, if you are building a relationship, these 10 stakeholders, you are not only, again, going to accelerate your visibility as an entrepreneur, but it helps you to be top of mind from different angles of the ecosystem. Now, let me repeat this again. We live in a world where we're all overstimulated and overwhelmed. There's so much happening on a day-to-day that you got to constantly figure out how to make yourself top of mind as an entrepreneur. And you can't just be aiming, and a lot of people just focus on the funders in the stakeholder ecosystem that I share with you. You got to think of other entrepreneurs who could recommend you, education institutions that you could be a part of, accelerator programs that you could join, ESOs that could support you, government policies that can enable you, media reports that could showcase your story, events and programs that you can attend, corporate ecosystem players that could, partner with you, community networks that could inspire you. You need the entire stakeholder ecosystem to really accelerate your growth. So again, we look at AI-ready capacity from a time perspective, from a capacity perspective, but also you got to look at it from a leadership perspective. Manage your time in terms of the tech stack internally for your business, and externally manage your relationships that will give accelerated opportunity, because the time it will take for you to figure out how to apply to certain things or scale your business for funding or anything that you need incrementally will accelerate with these type of relationships. So put the time in to build those relationships. Again, if you build capacity and leadership, you are creating an AI-ready business. Hopefully that is clear. At the end of the day, artificial intelligence will be the most transformative technology of the 21st century. So how you leverage AI right now to, again, going back to what we shared, to increase your capacity and increase your leadership, now is the time. All right. And my favorite part about this ecosystem mapping exercise is that it helps you to understand that, again, I'm always about human-centered design, human-centered strategy, and human-centered integration when it comes to technology. This forces you to still go back to the old school dynamics of building real world relationships to accelerate the growth of your business, right? You can use AI as a tool to find out who those people are. We have an entire prompt at the AI Ready Sprint for you to find the names, emails, and contact information of all these stakeholder leaders in your community. We call it a 10 by 10 spreadsheet, where for each one of these stakeholders, you find the top 10, right? And build rapport with that over the next year, right? So we can share that with you later on. So comment Sprint if you want more information on that. But the point is like building your capacity and your leadership for this ecosystem, okay? Now, with that said, I want to conclude by saying that being AI ready is more than just leveraging the technology and tools to accelerate your business. It's also how you frame how you want to take your business to the next level when it comes to leadership and capacity. I want to go back to the framework that we're going to be going over this entire 3 day. Today, we talked about time. We talked about how to actually leverage and audit your tech stack, audit your frameworks internally as a business. But we also talk about ecosystem leadership outside of your business and how you could combine your efforts with both of those strategies to have an AI capacity and leadership framework that succeeds in this AI economy. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about traction. Again, this is going to be a very, very important session because I'm going to talk about how to simplify your business model so you could accelerate growth in your business. And then we'll end on day 3 with trust, how to build relationships, credibility, and revenue at an accelerated pace by using live virtual events. You don't want to miss that one because that one is not only helping you to accelerate your business, but it will help you to also accelerate your personal brand. That will be on day 3. So with that said, if you want to be able to implement what we talked about today, again, we are accepting applications for the AI Ready Startup Sprint workshop that's happening this Friday. Really a phenomenal experience to be a part of that because it's a live implementation session. It's more insular, so we'll be together. I'll be able to hear more about your business, more about the work that you're doing, and we'll give it. So I saw a couple of you guys have commented Sprint to get more information. Thank you for that. We will send you more information about the Sprint via email. If you have not registered for that, please feel free to comment Sprint and our team will send you more information. And for those of you who are coming on live publicly and you want more information about all these initiatives, feel free to also put that in the chat as well. So thank you guys for the love and the comments on the chat. Now, where do you go from here? Now, I am incredibly excited that we have launched this initiative, the AI Ready Startup Accelerator program, because genuinely, I want to remind you guys, I know I shared the stats in the beginning, but here's 3 things I want to leave you with before we end today and, get you ready for tomorrow. The first thing is that this is not new. As a human species, we are always going to grow. We are always going to find new ways to accelerate our society. And technology is always going to be the equalizer that we're going to leverage to take our companies, our society to the next level. With that said, the only constant is change. You got to embrace change. You got to be a spirit of embracing change in this era. This is not new. We have undergone change for centuries. You have the capability and the capacity to do this. So the first thing I just want to remind you, despite the statistics, despite the craziness, despite the chaos, you can lead in this era. This is not new. Embrace change. The second thing I want to talk about is do not forget the importance of human-centered leadership in this era. I cannot stress this enough. Too many people are out here sincerely taking out the human experience out of every single functional activity in their business. We are tired of the nonsense on the internet. I know you guys feel it. If you are tired of it, what do you think people are going to react to your business doing the same thing? Please, please, please. It is a tool. It is not a human. I shared that quote with you from the IBM training manual to show you that even close to 50 years ago, right, they recognize that we need to make sure that the human spirit is in every one of our decisions as founders and entrepreneurs and leaders. Do not forget that leadership requires you to make bold but also accountable decisions. Do not forget that. And last but not least, what's going to enable you to succeed in this economy is sincerely your strategy. Strategy. Okay? Your strategy during this time frame. This is the reason why we're sharing the framework with you and overview with you through this AI Ready Startup Accelerator, but also implementing the strategies that we share with our templates and spreadsheets at the AI Ready Sprint workshop this Friday. Because we recognize that it's not easy to implement that strategy, especially when there's so much happening. You need to really be brave and bold in this era and go for it. You cannot put your head in the sand and just hope that things will work out. It will not. You need to put yourself out there. Okay? And so with that said, I am so looking forward to seeing you guys complete this entire experience. Tomorrow, again, we're going to be in day 2 to talk about traction. Day 3 is going to be about trust. Today was all about time. So the question I'm going to ask you, how are you going to leverage your time in this AI era that we live in? How are you going to build your leadership capacity? How are you going to build trust? How are you going to build your legacy during this era? What decisions are you going to make tomorrow that's going to impact generations to come after? You got to be thinking about these questions because a lot of you are so focused on the here and now and the tech tools. You're not looking long term. How many of you have a 5, 10, 20, 100-year strategy of what you're going to build for what's next? I know I have a 100-year strategy. Yes, I do. I may not live to 100, but I hope my legacy will go past a century. How many of you are thinking in that way? How many of you have embodied the literal obligation of leading during this time? You're not just watching what everyone else is doing, but how are you making leadership decisions to lead during this time? That's what I ask of you. Today was all about time, and how you leverage and utilize your time is going to set you apart from every single entrepreneur on the planet. So with that, I wish you not only high energy, high opportunity, high emotional spirit and gravitas in this time, because you're going to need all of it to stand your ground and position yourself not just for success, but for leadership and for greatness. And with that, welcome to day 1 of the AI-Ready Startup Accelerator. I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys back for day 2 of this program. And again, leverage your time well, go for the stars, and make bold decisions. We need you to be an entrepreneurial leader, not just an entrepreneur. We need the next generation of entrepreneurs to do what's right, put themselves out there, and make bold, powerful decisions. I wish you well, and see you next time. Bye, everyone.
But this world, as big as it is, one person could be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.